Hello there, guys. It's Daily Doomer back for another vlog. I'm actually in the gym this morning, and this whole topic of this video is going to be 10 things or a number of things that I wish I would have known at 20 years old. So I'm currently 32, so I'm going to be trying to give tips to those young men if you're a teenager or you're in your early 20s. I think a lot of this will be extremely helpful. This isn't going to be stupid tips like, compound interest and things of that nature, just basic financial tips you hear elsewhere. I'm not saying those aren't true, but this is more about life tips. This is more about actual stuff that you will learn as you age, hopefully, if you're paying attention, or at least some stuff that I would have wish I would have known when I was 20 years old. So let's get right into it, guys. So yeah, first thing, guys, physical exercise. Physical exercise, it doesn't mean, doing a 300-pound bench press. What it means is doing a daily walk, guys. It's that simple. I had panic disorder. I had anxiety conditions just by doing walking and doing a later step that I'm going to be talking about. It basically cured these panic attacks and anxiety attacks. So, we were naturally built, guys. Our natural bodies were meant to have exercise every day. And now with our sedentary lives, a lot of times we are not getting that recommended amount of exercise. I like to do at least an hour a day, and it can be as simple as taking a walk. Meanwhile, if you do not like exercise, you can be listening to a podcast. I'm very into chess, so I do chessable and a lot of chess learning and things of that nature. But your mileage may vary. Take whatever you really like. Like if you like to, do anything, read a book, etc., etc. Audiobooks are a great option. I used to do that a lot. But just getting that hour a day of daily exercise will increase your energy. One thing that I didn't understand at 20, I would feel tired after work. And so I would think, well, I need to conserve energy for the next day. This is kind of stupid, guys. This is definitely a lesson that I learned. By doing this, you actually end up with less net energy over the period of, let's say, a month to two, because your body just becomes more and more tired. The less you exercise, you have sleepless nights, you're restless, you're stressed. Yeah, that's a big tip, guys. Get that daily exercise, even if it's just a walk. If it's a walk and it can have some weights, even better. Tip number two, um, learn what foods work towards your body, guys. And a big thing I noticed is I was always told as a young man, stay away from carbohydrates. A lot of, it was the Atkins fad going on. It was the, low keto, like ketogenic diet. I did all of those things trying to manage my weight. Now, they do work for weight loss. I'm not going to lie. But one thing I will tell you guys that I've noticed is that my emotional health and my mental stability is much better with higher carbohydrates, especially grains like grain-berry cereal, bland flakes, those type things, especially in the morning, seem to give me a lot of stability. And there seems to be a lot of studies, involving this that carbohydrates lead to higher serotonin levels in the brain, and therefore with these high serotonin levels, anxiety is diminished, things of that nature. Now, of course, you have to balance this with your weight loss goals and anything you're trying to accomplish. But I would seriously consider this, guys. I think this is a great tip. Don't be fooled. It always comes down to, in the end, calories, and it always comes down to your hormonal balance, which is another thing I'll be talking about probably in a future video, like testosterone and all the things that we have pumped into our environments in terms of microplastics and phytoestrogens and yeah, a lot of stuff like that. So hormones are important, but calories are also very important. And don't be fooled into this. You can eat 10 pounds of bacon, but you can't eat a bagel. It just doesn't work that way. And it's kind of, fake news in essence. So yeah, that was a big thing, guys. Work on your diet, and it's all individual. Some other individual might really work well with high fats, but carbohydrates gives them a lot of blood sugar variation. So you have to figure out what works for you, and listen to your body, not something somebody in a magazine or a textbook is saying that doesn't know you and doesn't understand your particular situations. Next thing is relationship advice, guys. Focus on the one or two friends that are going to be there with you in your darkest times. Like these are the people that they aren't with you because things are good, right? Fair weather friends, guys, are everywhere, and you might as well ditch them right now. I'm just going to be completely honest. They are completely useless, and over time, you'll realize they will fade in and out of your life. You're better off devoting time to two or three relationships, your significant other, whoever that may be. And we're going to be talking about that in a later tip. But, your significant other and two to three close friends. Guys, realistically, you can't have more than five close friends. I would say that's at the very maximum. Realistically, it's probably going to be two to four. It's kind of realistic numbers. So yeah, if you have any more friends than this, they'll probably fair weather friends, and they will kind of be there until the situation goes bad, and then yeah, they will not be there. So be very cautious of this, and don't put any stock into people that seem kind of flaky. If they seem like they kind of kind of just are there and their things are going bad, then I would ditch them sooner rather than later, because any time invested in them is ultimately wasted. Another thing I would say specifically is try to travel when you're young, guys. Try to get out of the country. It was one of the best things I ever did. Don't be too fooled. Like, everybody will talk about your finances. You need to start saving for retirement. You need to do this, do that. And I remember this parable that was talking about a businessman that worked to his 60 to where he retired to a beach in Mexico. And the first thing he saw was a guy at 21 that basically had the same life he had at 60, except he was doing it at 21. Ultimately, you should be doing stuff that engages you, that you love, or at least that isn't totally abhorrent to you. Now, unfortunately, we do have to make money. It is something that, making capital in order to survive is a necessary evil, but you should treat it exactly like that. It should be a necessary evil. Do the minimum you have to. Always get paid, get the highest paying job you can, and treat your work and your personal life separately. They are very different, guys. You need to be a professional in the workplace, but ultimately you need to realize that you're only there in order to generate revenue to fund your life. That is it. Do not have any sort of reliance and or dependence and or loyalty to an employer. I've worked, I believe now, like probably over 20 employers. I have seen people that have been, 20, 30-year employees that have been totally screwed over in a moment by a company. Companies that they trusted, that they put heavy amounts of time in, that they invested in. Do not be these people, guys. Realize the company will ditch you at the quickest moment's notice when it no longer suits them to have you there. So you should be focused on, treating them as a business partnership. Doesn't mean you can't be professional at work, that you can't enjoy your work, but it does mean that you have to separate, your personal emotions and what the way you would treat people in your personal relationships, which I think loyalty is incredibly important, perhaps one of the most important virtues you can develop. To your business, which business you need to be somewhat cutthroat. You need to look at it in terms of what is best for me right now. And yeah, completely separate these two facets of your life. I think one of the biggest flaws people have is, not knowing where to separate your professional and personal life. Now I'm going to talk about your significant other, guys. Do not fall into the stupid Dr. Phil mentality of you need to be okay with yourself until you can find somebody else. Realistically, guys, I'm going to tell you some of the stupidest decisions I ever made was when I was single. And, being married to a good partner uh, improved my life immensely. I cut out a lot of bad habits. I stopped using certain substances like caffeine that were actually hurting me. That's going to be my next tip, actually. But staying back on this, try to develop a good relationship. Try to find a good partner early. Life is easier in a pair. It's that simple, guys. It really is that simple. Now, if somebody's mistreating you or you see them mistreating others, it's a very bad sign, guys. I have been in bad relationships that, were abusive. I would never suggest that to anybody. Do not, cope with that. But be loyal to people. If they are loyal to you, if they treat others well, when they fall on hardships or they have personal flaws, you have to remember you yourself have personal flaws. And you shouldn't ditch them and try to find somebody better. That's a big flaw in modern society. And I think as a doomer, we have to be realistic. We have to maybe even be pessimistic sometimes. But I do believe in love and I do believe in human loyalty. And I think that once you abandon loyalty, once you abandon this kind of, feeling that there are some people that will stick with you no matter what, ride or die. If you abandon that, then basically what is left to even get up out of bed of? So personally, that's big for me. My wife, my close friends, that's what I'm focused on. And don't be too stressed about the money. There was times in my life that I had $150 in the checking account. There's times like now, currently I'm undergoing a little bit of joblessness because my, travel medical career has had a downturn. I'm not stressing about it, guys. I stressed way too much in my teens and early 20s. And I think it's like Marcus Aurelius or one of these other Stoic philosophers talked about how most of the things that are bad in life don't actually happen. They happen only in your mind. So you're suffering twice, 3 times, probably 20 times more than you have to because you're constantly worried about things that may or may not happen instead of focused on dealing with the problems you actually have. So try to get rid of these, existential dreads and worries because 90% of them won't even happen. And the ones that do, you'll figure out what to do when they actually happen. A lot of it, you can't really premeditate solutions anyway, to be honest. So just thinking about it oftentimes doesn't do any good. That's why I would recommend highly that you get into chess or another hobby, a mental hobby, RTS games, that kind of thing. That allows you to focus your mind, learn how to concentrate, be dedicated, learn to learn, and always be learning, guys. Always be reading books, audiobooks, whether it's philosophers, whether it's history. Try to always be learning something. The schools are broken, guys. School tuition is getting insane. We have to take charge of our own learning. We can't expect organizations. The organizational hierarchy of education is a disaster, especially in the US. Yeah, always be looking for places online. I'm not going to name names, but places where you can get free books, free information. It's out there, guys. You can get free audiobooks, free ebooks, television shows, educational resources. Try to develop yourself, guys. Focus on your own development and focus on, meeting people and being kind. Try to be kind when you can. Sometimes you can't, but, try to be kind when you can. And basically, guys, the last tip I want to talk about is avoid substances. Now, this is going to be something that is, highly debatable. A lot of people experiment in their 20s. I know I did. Most of it was wasted time, guys, wasted time. And I'm talking about some of the simplest substances like caffeine. Just avoid it, guys. All it's going to do, all of these substances, is distract you from your momentary problems, make you feel better in the moment, and end up wasting your money and your time and your effort. And ultimately, none of these substances that I tried, I'm not going to get into names here, but nothing that I tried helped me in my life at all. Everything that was in my life was, through my close friends, my wife, personal relationships, my significant other, and self development. And I promise you, you can feel as good, if not better, just through exercise, mental well-being, meditation. You can feel better than any substance you can take, guys. And then you won't be hooked on that. You won't be focused on, well, now I have to get XYZ to feel good. So unless you have a, mental disorder and you're working with a physician, this is not medical advice, but unless you're working with a physician who, feels that you need a substance and you yourself feel you need a substance, for a significant medical issue, I would not recommend getting on any substance. Try to live your life, drug free, and focus on positive, vibes. Now that doesn't mean that you should be, needlessly over optimistic or unrealistic. I am a doomer. I do think we need to look at things reality clearly. And yeah, this is another. I'm gonna put this at the end, guys. This will be controversial, and then I'm gonna cut the video off. do not focus on religion. Just like the substances guy, it's kind of a, kind of a, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it was a green pill or red pill in the matrix, but it is a way in order to distract yourself from the reality of the situation. That doesn't mean you can't have spirituality. That doesn't mean you can't have beliefs, but don't focus on that as a way to kind of cop out of dealing with life and dealing with relationships, philosophical issues. A lot of people I see, they use religion honestly as a cop out. And that's something I wish I would have known at 20 years old. So hopefully these tips helped you guys. Please leave me comments down below if you have questions that you want me to answer in my next video. And thank you again so much, guys. I hope these have helped you. And yeah, it's been Daily Duma signing out.